Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Ultrakill Facial Beauty Rankings. In this slideshow, I'm going to rank the not the attractiveness, the cuteness of all the faces of the enemies of Ultrakill. So I am going to do this off of a few criteria. For example, starting with the filth, I will rate the mouth and jaw, the eyes, and the nose and cheeks. And then after I give each of these a letter ranking, there will be an overall rating that takes the previous ratings into account. So to start, mouth and jaw. Gonna give the filth an A rank because the mouth is very big on the filth and the jawline is very solid and pronounced. However, the only reason the mouth and jaw is not an S is because those teeth are very, very sharp. Eyes, gonna give a D because there are no eyes on the filth, and that's an automatic D. Next up, nose and cheeks. Gonna give him a C because while there is no nose, he does have cheeks, and they're the kind of cheeks, they're very smooth and small. You'd want to run your hands over those as you make out with the filth in a romantic situation. So overall, gonna give the filth a C. Very good job, filth. You're not very attractive, but you are pretty cute. Next up, the stray. Mouth and jaw. I rate his mouth and jaw a B because there is no mouth on the stray. It looks kind of sewn shut, or I'm not sure what's going on with the stray. Maybe that's bone. I don't know. But the jaw on the stray is very solid and pronounced and could cut butter like a hot knife. Next up, eyes. A rank. You might think, why not an S rank? Well, if you look into those eyes, they are empty sockets. And so there's nothing to look at in those eyes, but you can sort of imagine eyes in there. I'm going to give them an A because there are technically eyes. Whatever. Nose and cheeks, gonna give him an S because there is a nose on this guy and he's got some good looking cheeks. Overall, gonna give the stray a B rating. Very cute. Good job, stray. I would save that for later. Next up, the schism. Mouth and jaw, gonna give him a D because, he doesn't have a head. Except on his right arm, he's got a skull. So we're gonna use that as the head because it's the closest thing that we've got to a head. Next up, eyes. I'm gonna give him an A. Same reason I'm giving the stray an A, because it has eye sockets but not eyeballs. And that's okay, you can look into his eyes, make eye contact with him, but you won't be able to see any emotion in those eyes. Nose and cheeks, gonna give him a C, because he has no real cheeks, he's a skull, not very cute. The only reason it's not a D, and it's a C instead, is because the nose is actually a hole. Imagine what you can do with that while you're making out with the schism. Very cute. C rank. Good job, Schism. You made up for it. Next up, the soldier. The soldier's fairly humanoid. He's a bit of a cyborg. And for the mouth and jaw, I want to point out he's got a beautiful smile going on underneath that blue marker. S rank, right off the bat. Good mouth, good jaw, very cheerful, very cute. I'm going to give him a C because the faceplate that he's got on is obscuring his eyes so much that we can't really grade his eyes in any meaningful way, but the fact that it is covering those areas means that he does have eyes, we just can't see them. Nose and cheeks, going to give him an S rank because the size of that facial plate implies that he's got a big, strong nose that must be protected at all costs. And he's got some good, solid cheeks. He's got good cheekbones that kind of protrude out. Overall, I'm going to give him an A rating. The soldier is the best, the cutest Ultrakill enemy we've seen so far. Next up, the street cleaner. Now, the street cleaner is a machine, and so it's at an innate disadvantage. But we'll go through these like any other enemy. Mouth and jaw, going to give him a C rank. Because he has no mouth, he does have a good jawline, however. It's very smooth. You can run your hand over it without getting hurt, but at the same time, he's got some sharp curves, some sharp edges, some points to his jaw that really makes him look more mature. I'm going to give him a D because there are no eyes on the street cleaner, at least none that I can see, and I can't make eye contact with him, makes it very hard to connect. Next up, nose and cheeks, going to give him a B because I like to think that the snout on the street cleaner is his nose, but it's got no cheeks. I mean, they're pretty smooth, but whole lot of nothing that going on there. Overall, I'm gonna give the street cleaner a C. Good job, street cleaner. You're a machine, and so you're at a big disadvantage, but you're still managing to work it out there. Next up, malicious face. The malicious face is probably the best looking specimen we've seen so far. Mouth and jaw, I'm gonna give him an S rank because that mouth is a bit, he looks a bit sad or perhaps angry looking, but I think that's actually a tough exterior guarding a soft and squishy interior. Which is why I think it's a shame that his eyes are all glazed over like this. I can only give him an A on the eyes because they're so glazed over. And if you look into those eyes, you might not be able to tell a lot of emotion. Next up, the nose and cheeks, gonna give him an S rank because he's got a very big nose, but it's not goofy looking. It's the type of nose that if you punch him in a fight, you'd be surprised if you made his nose bleed. Overall, I'm gonna give the malicious face an S ranking on the cuteness of its face. Good job, demon. Let's go. Next up, we've got the Cerberus. Now, the mouth and jaw on the Cerberus is gonna give him a B rank because the jaw on the Cerberus is absolutely pristine. Beautiful. But there is no mouth to speak of, so sorry, Cerberus, can only give you a B. The eyes, gonna give him a D because he has no eyes. We've been over this kind of thing before. The nose and cheeks, I can give him an A because he has no nose. His face kind of does taper off into a point, so that can be interpreted as a nose. And then his cheeks are very well defined. They look so strong. A real Giga Chad look. Overall, I'm going to give him a B, just like the other demon on this list, the malicious face. Very cute, very good looking. Good job, Cerberus. Next up, the hideous mass. The mouth and jaw of the hideous mass, I'm going to give him an S rank. Because if you look at his mouth, he's got the fullest lips out of anything we've seen in Ultrakill so far. The eyes, I'm also going to give him an S ranking. And you might think, but his eyes are glazed over too. How come the malicious face gets an A, but this one gets an S? It's a fine eyes we've seen so far, and are also the fullest. Maybe he's got some Botox in there, I don't know. Not my business. And the nose and cheeks, gonna give him an S as well because his nose is very human, very slender, while still looking very cute. And his cheeks aren't trying too hard. They're not fantastic, but their beauty is in their simplicity. And if you look closely at his hands too, I didn't actually notice this until making this list. His hands are actually 2 more mouths. So if you don't like his full lips, then you can get his other mouths. So the Hideous Mass gives you options. Hideous Mass is a wonderful example. This is the first P rank that we are giving on this list. Great job, Hideous Mass. You are a real treat. Next up, Drone. The mouth and jaw on the drone, gonna give him a D in the center. I'll call that an I. I'm good with that. However, there's only one I, and so I can't give him an S rank. It's got to be an A. Nose and cheeks, gonna give him a B because there is no nose, and so that's an automatic 50% point deduction. But the cheeks on this thing are, they're fine, but they're really saved by the pink lines on those cheeks. It reminds me of an anime girl blushing. So this drone is almost blushing at me as it is firing projectiles at me and trying to suicide bomb me when I defeat it. Very cute. I would go on a date with this thing. B rating overall. Good job, machine. That is the best score we've seen out of a machine so far. Next up, we've got Swords Machine. Mouth and jaw. Sorry, Swords Machine, you don't got that. D. Eyes, gonna give Swords Machine an S rank. If you look at the very top of Swords Machine's head, there are 2 little blue eyes. And what's interesting about these eyes is while they don't convey a lot of emotion, they are actually lopsided. Something that we don't really see that often in our specimens. And so I'm thinking that Swords Machine is unique, and for that, gonna give him a bonus, and so he's gonna get an S on the eyes. The nose and cheeks, however, sorry, Swords Machine, you don't have a nose, and you don't have cheeks either. Overall, I can only give you a C, because your mouth and jaw and your nose and cheeks are just so lacking. Your head looks like a locker that some kid would get stuffed into. Sorry, Swords Machine. Next up, V2. V2 is very, V2 is a machine. If you go on Google Images and search V2 Ultrakill, you will get some heinous art. But so lots of sex appeal in V2, that's for sure. A lot of people see that and a lot of people make art of that. But what about the cuteness? Mouth and jaw, D rank. Sorry, V2, you're not very cute in your mouth and jaw area. But what about your eyes? A rank. Because you have one eye going on, I'm going to give you the same courtesy that I did to the drone, that while it's not technically an organic I. It's good enough for me, but there's only one of it, so I can only give you an A. Nose and cheeks going to give you a B. The complete absence of your nose really hurts you in this department. However, the contours of the sides of your head are very good looking, and they're very cute. I can imagine, romantic night on the couch, put my arm around you, and then I feel the contours of that cheek, and oh man, gotta give you a B ranking overall. For a machine, you're very good looking, V2. I'm proud of you. Next up, Mind Flayer. A lot of you might think this is an automatic P rank. However, this is not about the creature's body. This is about the face and how cute they are. Not their sex appeal, but their cuteness. Mouth and jaw. Gonna give it an A because the Mind Flayer has a very sharp jaw. As you can see, it's made out of metal, so it's probably pretty cold, pretty sharp. But the mouth, you might say, oh, there's no mouth in the Mind Flayer. But if you look behind the Mind Flayer's left hand, its left, not our left, you can see that it's in front of a sort of protrusion. That could be the Mind Flayer's mouth in a puckering motion. But because we've never seen a mouth like this before, we can't really confirm that, so I can't give it an S. It's going to have to be an A. Eyes, gonna give the Mind Flayer a B because there's only one eye on the Mind Flayer, so similar with the drone and with V2. It's difficult to give it an S. It's impossible to give it an S, actually. But I'm gonna actually go down to a B because that's not really an eye, and it's more of a slit. Like, it's more of a rectangle. That's not what eyes look like. Not very cute. Nose and cheeks, gonna give the Mind Flayer a D because the Mind Flayer's cheeks are actually backwards. Instead of looking like a V, these cheeks look kind of like an N shape, if that makes sense. Overall, I'm gonna give the Mind Flayer a B because the Mind Flayer is pretty cute, but ultimately, I don't want to see that on my Tinder page. Next up, Corpse of King Minos. Corpse of King Minos is very special because, as you can see, Corpse of King Minos is very dark, tall, dark, handsome. I think so. And the white accents definitely help with that. Corpse of King Minos is definitely going to attract a lot of high school girls because they're really into that damaged, depressed, emo look. Okay, mouth and jaw. Let's get on with this. I'm getting weird. Mouth and jaw, going to give him an S because he's got a great mouth, very big, and his jaw is very solid. No complaints. Next up, his eyes, S rank. His eyes are big, they're emotional, and when you look into those eyes, you can see real pain in there, showing that you can actually see his emotions through his eyes. Wonderful work, very cute. And the nose and cheeks gonna give him an S rank because he's got a great... So, his nose isn't perfect, I won't say that, but it's near perfect. It's very humanoid, very nice, slender but sturdy, kind of like the Hideous Mass. And the cheeks, very smooth, very solid. I would love to put my hands on those cheeks, how much I love them. P rank. Great job, Corpse of King Minos. Keep it up. Keep slaying. Next up, Something Wicked. Not gonna lie. Lots of sex appeal here. Not a lot of cuteness. Jaw. C rank. There is no mouth on this thing, and the jaw is sort of a V shape. The only reason it's not a D is because there is a V shape there, so it can be interpreted that is a jaw. Eyes, however, D rank. There's no eyes on this thing whatsoever. No excuses there. Disappointing. Nose and cheeks, same thing, very disappointing. The sides of Something Wicked's head are straight, so the whole thing is the cheek, and it's more of a cylinder at this point. It's not right. D rank, I'm not very impressed with Something Wicked. Again, not very cute, but lots of sex appeal. Next up, Gabriel, Judge of Hell. Oozing with sex appeal, I'm sure. Mouth and jaw, first of all, gonna give it a D rank. Because you can't see his mouth or his jaw. And the way that his helmet is shaped, if you look, he's got a kind of golden goatee on the base of his helmet. And that can betray that there's a lot of space in there, or perhaps there is a lot of filled in space, if you get what I'm trying to say. His mouth and jaw are probably tiny and pathetic. His eyes, gonna give him a B rank, because we can't see his eyes, but the way... Nose and cheeks, I'm going to give him an S rank there because his helmet sort of points outward in the front, meaning that he does have a fairly strong and large nose, and his cheeks also shape the helmet very well. Overall, I'm going to give Gabriel, Judge of Hell, a B. Attractive, not very cute though. If he took off that helmet and we could see his mouth, it would probably fix any problem we have with him. Next up, a Virtue. No mouth or jaw. No eyes. No nose or cheeks. D rank. I don't know what you expected, Virtue, walking in here looking like that, but hey, to each their own, I guess. Someone probably thinks you are very... I can't even say that. Next up, the Stalker. Mouth and jaw. I'm going to give the Stalker a B ranking. Because the Stalker, we can't see his mouth, so we can't comment on it. Automatic 50% point deduction. But his jaw is very smooth, very small and compact, while not being pathetic like Gabriel's. Very good. I'm proud of you, Stalker. Next up, eyes. His eyes are glazed over, unfortunately. He's got two of them. They're on the sides of his head, kind of like a lizard. Very cute, but they don't show very much emotion. You can't really connect with them well through his eyes. Nose and cheeks, gonna give him an A rank as well, because some people say that's a gas mask on the Stalker, bro. That's a respiration tube. No, that's his nose, and you can't change my mind. That nose, imagine what he can do with that nose. You're making out with him, and then his nose goes crazy on you. Your brain will fill in the blanks for me. Boom, A rank on the Stalker. Proud of you. Next up, the Sisyphean Insurrectionist. I mean, I don't know what you want me to say. This thing doesn't have a head even. You might say, oh, it's the malicious face. Use that as his face. No, that's a malicious face. That's not an insurrectionist. Flesh Prison. Flesh Prison is an interesting case. I'm going to give Flesh Prison an A in the mouth and jaw department, because look at that mouth. Very large, definitely very kissable. There's no jaw in this thing, though, and the only reason that it doesn't have an S rank on the mouth and jaw is because the teeth are crooked as well. A little bit of a drawback there. Eyes, D rank. Now, I'm going to argue that this thing has no eyes, but if you play the game and you go behind the Flesh Prison, you can actually see some eyeballs, but the problem is those are on the back of the Flesh Prison, and last I checked, when I make out with something, I don't want to see no eyes. I want those eyes to be on the same side as the mouth. I don't know, maybe I'm just biased, who knows. Nose and cheeks, gonna give it a D. Neither of those exist on this thing. Gonna give him a C rank overall. Not absolutely repulsive, a little bit cute, but missing a lot. And finally, Minos Prime. The mouth and jaw of Minos Prime, I'm gonna give him a B rank, because I'm going to consider that hole in his face a big mouth. However, it is really big. There's no teeth in there. There's no tongue. His jaw is very strong, though. Going to give him a B. I think that's pretty fair. Eyes. No eyes on this guy. D rank. Not a lot to explain there. Nose and cheeks. Going to give him a C, because he does have some nice looking cheeks. No nose. Again, a bit unfortunate, but those cheeks are almost perfect. Going to give him an overall rating of C. You know, he's a prime soul. He's not looking to be cute. He's looking to be powerful. But hey, gotta rank all of them. So, that's it for the list. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming by and witnessing the ranking of the cuteness of all of the enemies in Ultrakill and their faces. Have a wonderful day.